Hey, this is Danny from Scare Talk. Before we get into all the horror greatness, I gotta let you know about Anchor. Anchor is the host site that we use to record our podcast. Anchor will upload your podcast to Apple and Spotify and many other listening platforms. Anchor is completely free, and you can download the app or go to the website, anchor.fm, and you can record straight on there. There's also some cool editing tools that you can use. Did I mention that it's free? Yeah, so if you want to make a podcast, Anchor is the way to go. Go check it out. Now, for the spooky stuff.
Welcome to Scare Talk, a horror movie podcast for horror fans. This podcast will cover horror movie reviews, ratings, and rankings. Now for your hosts, Danny and Joel.
Oh, yeah. This is Scare Talk. I am Danny, and I'm here with Janky Joel.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm Janky today.
Yeah. Today we are going to talk about one of the newer horror films, 2022. This one is titled X. It's gotten a lot of hype over the last
it has been
over the last few weeks, at least from when we're
recording. Hey, you know what they say? X gonna give it to you. So, you know, it's...
So, Joel, who is a part of this?
Okay. So this one stars Mia Goth. She plays Maxine and Pearl.
Oh, yeah.
She was in Suspiria, A Cure for Wellness, and Robert Pattinson A24 movie High Life. I didn't know that movie was A24. That was pretty cool to find out, since this is also an A24 movie.
Yeah.
Also, Jenna Ortega. She plays Lorraine. And she is in the animated Addams Family spin-off show called Wednesday.
It's animated?
That's direct. Yeah, it's animated.
Oh, I didn't know that was... Because that's not out yet, right?
No, not yet.
Oh, I didn't know it was going to be animated. That's
yeah.
Okay.
It's directed by Tim Burton, so it's a Tim Burton, which, I mean, it's like a perfect, director for that type of a thing. But
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's gonna be animated.
Okay.
And then she was in a show. It was a Disney Channel show called Stuck in the Middle. She was in 57 episodes, so she's basically, that's how she started. She's a Disney Channel actress.
That's how my kids know
who's
her.
gone horror. Yeah.
Yep.
And she was in, most recently she was in Scream 2022, and also Studio 666, R.I.P. Taylor Hawkins of Foo Fighters.
Yeah.
And also Brittany Snow, she's Bobby Lynn. She was in the Prom Night remake. She was in the Pitch Perfect trilogy, and she was in Would You Rather. And this also stars Kid Cudi. There is quite a few people in this movie.
Yeah, Kid Cudi.
That are Kid Cudi. Such a random casting, but okay. He did a good job though.
Yeah.
It was written by Ty West. He wrote The Sacrament, In a Valley of Violence, Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever, and he's going to be doing Pearl, the X prequel.
Yeah.
Right in that one. And this was also directed by Ty West. He directed The House of the Devil, 2 episodes of Amazon series Them, 1 episode of The Exorcist, and 1 episode of the Scream TV show, as well as he's directing Pearl as well.
All right.
So
awesome. All right. So this one takes place in 1979. A group of young filmmakers set out to make an adult film in rural Texas, but when their reclusive elderly host catches them in the act, the cast find themselves fighting for their lives.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So, I remember seeing this trailer and thinking, okay, this looks pretty cool. Looks like a Texas Chainsaw kind of Rob Zombie, mixed in with. I couldn't really tell if it was going to be a slasher or if it was going to be something else. But
just a straight porno. That's just
yeah.
There's no violence at all. It's just
and being that this is an A24 film.
Yeah,
I was thinking, okay, what's it really gonna be? Is it gonna be a slasher?
Yeah.
I mean, is it really gonna be a slasher? Because I don't think they do those. So
yeah.
So
most
I was
of it,
intrigued.
Yeah, most of it didn't feel like A24, but some of it definitely did.
Yeah, there's definitely some A24-ish
influence in there. Yeah.
Some moments there, but for the most part, it's a slasher, and but kind of like an old school one.
Yeah.
So that I'll start off is something that I really liked is the way that it like transports you back to the 70s. The costume design, even the way it's filmed, the acting, just everything about it made me think I was watching a movie from the 70s.
Yeah.
Like I was watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre with better acting. Or,
much better acting.
or, something along those lines. The camera work just, it's kind of had like a grainy feel to it. Just all those aspects of the 70s was really apparent in this. Did you get that
the
too?
Music? I did, yeah. Also, the music choice as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a lot of popular songs, which I'm kind of surprised that Ty West was able to get the rights to.
Right. Yeah.
Because I mean, I'm sure they're not like the most expensive songs to get, but they're probably not cheap either.
Yeah.
And they were all within that range, that era. It was all 70s, I think some 60s in there.
Yeah.
So, a lot of the time when you have a more modern movie take place in a different time, like in the 70s or something,
right,
there will be a couple of songs in there that are after that that era that are thrown in there, and it's like that's not
that didn't come out
all
yet.
right. Yeah, exactly.
This is supposed to be 1979, not 85. What's going on?
Yeah, so I guess it's smart to have a movie take place on the last year of the decade.
Yeah, you can.
So that like all the music from like the 70s can be in this movie. It's just like,
yeah.
It's not like it takes place in like 75, but a song actually came out in 77 or something. It's
right.
So yeah, the use of all that stuff, it definitely felt like it took place in the 70s.
Yeah.
There was another thing that I did appreciate with like the story. With it made it feel more realistic because like they explained the reason that they had to move from where they were before to this area. And they were like, yeah, the income tax is a lot cheaper here.
Yeah.
And it's like that happens all the time with movies. Like they will it will be filmed in a different area than what they're saying that it's supposed to be filmed in.
Yeah.
Just because you save money that way by choosing this area. So
right.
I did appreciate the realism in that, the reason that they had to go over here.
Yeah.
in this place.
The newer Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I believe, wasn't even filmed in America. I think it was filmed in like New Zealand or some other country,
like that.
Not in Texas.
Yeah, no.
And so that happens all the time in order to meet the budget and everything. Just have to find
and when you're making
location.
When you're making a porno, like you're not probably gonna have a very big budget. So
yeah. So okay, so I'm gonna steal a little bit of a comparison from Cody Leach. He had a very good comparison of this film. So it reminded me, and this is what he said, and I 100% agree. It was like Boogie Nights meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
It had the Boogie Nights stuff, like the 70s, the, low budget porn film, adult film.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was some slasher kills. And it took place in Texas. And, it had a, weird family involved. And yeah. So it was very much a mix of the two films. And I thought that was really cool. I mean, even the like facial hair of the characters, the clothes, their accents, just everything was like perfect in that respect. It was a well-made and well-directed movie.
Yeah, it was.
It's not your typical horror movie of this day and age, especially slasher. Definitely not your typical slasher. But it is a slasher for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it definitely is. Yeah, and this, like, I haven't seen a lot of Ty West stuff. I think really the only thing that I've seen of his is like the VHS segments that he's done. Mm-hmm. But even that, like, this felt very different.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard of the other stuff that he's done. I've heard other people like talk about it and stuff, like the Sacraments, and there's another one called the Innkeepers that I've heard isn't very good, but I've heard that people talking about it.
House of the Devil is pretty good.
Yeah, House of the Devil. Actually, I think I have seen that one too. Yeah. It's been a while, but but this one just feels. Well, I mean, it feels more higher budget because obviously it's a theatrical release. A24's, they've got some money now.
Sure.
To be thrown around to smaller known directors.
Yeah. What's
to
cool
give them a chance.
Is you can tell it's high budget with like some of the effects and the camera work and stuff, but at the same time it looks low budget.
Yeah,
because of the themes that they're going for and the era that they're going for, and all that. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. I like that too. So yeah, it was just a well-made movie. I do have to say, this has been getting quite a bit of praise from like everybody. Really, I don't like there have been people that said that they don't like it. I have seen people say it's like the worst movie of the year.
Really?
I mean, it's only March, so let's calm down on that.
I haven't seen.
Yeah,
any
but I mean,
negative.
it's a very small percentage.
Yeah,
but at the same time, I don't know. I didn't have. It was a lot of fun. It was, I don't want to say fun. It was because that's my whole point, is like it wasn't a fun movie.
Right. It wasn't, but it kind of was at the same time. Like it was an uncomfortably funny movie at times.
It was. And it's funny because I was actually the only person in the theater when I saw this.
Oh, nice.
And
I
like still felt
to yourself.
There were some moments I was like, I still felt kind of uncomfortable because sometimes they'll leave the door open to the theater. And it's like, I just imagine at some points, like, because, I mean, this movie's been played several times at this point at that theater. Like, people like walking by hearing some stuff going on. Like, what type of a movie are we watching here? Like, it's just...
I didn't know it was that kind of theater.
Yeah.
This is a family establishment.
Yeah. So like I can, I was just like picturing people like walking by at certain times. Like, this is all right. I'm out in like public right now. This is
someone walks in. It's just Joel,
just
all by himself, just enjoying this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Something wrong with this guy.
I mean, the X has a couple of different meanings. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's an X-rated movie, plus, the whole X factor that they were talking about several times. So yeah, it was the X-rated part that I was like, this is. I am glad I'm the only one here because I'd be a little bit more uncomfortable, but at the same time, like I'm imagining people like walking by. But the theater doesn't ever really get like that busy anyway, so nobody probably walked by when when I was in there. But yeah, it was just like the thought that okay, all right, maybe
it wasn't as gratuitous with the like sex stuff as I kind of thought it was going to be. Yeah, I mean, there is one scene with some old people that went a little too long for what it was, but that's the point. It's to make you feel uncomfortable. That was a little much for me, but like the actual scenes that they're shooting for the film, I feel like maybe they could have been shortened for that. I'm not a big fan of all that in movies. I know that that's like part of the story for this movie, so it makes sense, for it to be there. So, but it wasn't as much as I kind of thought it was going to be. So I was kind of happy about that.
And I kind of feel like that's part of why people love this movie so much. Not just because of that, but at the same time, this brings them back to their 80s slasher days where it was, a slasher movie. Plus you got like a sex scene or two. Like you got boobs in your in your movies. And I feel like that played a part in why people like this movie so much. Yeah. Because it reminded them of how movies used to be back in the day. This is not nearly as cheesy as like 80s movies were before. But as far as like the violence and the nudity, that kind of like it brought them back to those days.
Yeah. I could see that.
And I think that's one reason, probably like the main reason, I just probably didn't like this movie as much as a lot of people were saying that they liked it, because I don't need that in my horror movies. Like it doesn't add anything to have it. Yeah. It doesn't take away from the movie, but it also doesn't add to it either.
Yeah. So I mean, in this film, because of the story, which has the themes of old age and religion and just kind of promiscuity and all that, so it's necessary, but you don't have to show so much, I guess, is the thing. Yeah. And the scenes don't have to be as long. So I think it's necessary for the story because of the themes that they're going for. Yeah. But it could have been a little less on screen, a little more left to the imagination, I guess.
Our listeners are like, no, we needed more.
Yeah. People in the theater screaming, like, "Oh man!" Like it reminds me of
go back to the sex. We don't need the violence.
Yeah, it reminds me of Scream 2 when they're in the theater watching Stab, and like Heather Graham, I think it is, like drops her towel or picks it up or something, and it doesn't show anything. And they're like, "Oh man!" The whole theater's like, "Oh man!" Throwing popcorn and stuff.
Yeah.
Was that you when you were watching this?
Oh yeah, totally. Oh man, don't cut now. Throwing popcorn. Like, come on. They're cleaning up. They see that there's popcorn everywhere, but I'm the only person in that theater. Like, what? What happened here?
Throwing your junior mints.
Yeah.
So, and kind of something that was good too in this movie was the character development. I thought, for a slasher especially, you got to know each character. It really, like the first half of the film, really set up the characters. Set up the themes that they're going for. The acting was great.
I actually liked the characters too. Like there wasn't a stupid character.
No, there really
just,
wasn't.
Like, so yeah, I liked the character.
Yeah.
So you actually like felt something when people would die.
Yeah.
In it, instead of like, oh, okay, good, that person was annoying anyway.
Right. Yeah, no, it didn't really have that. At one point, this is some of the artsy stuff. The transitions from scene to scene.
Yeah, I kind of liked it.
I liked it too.
Some of the, yeah.
I thought it was pretty cool looking. It was
very
like
artistic.
Yeah.
Just like.
It would like show the next scene for like a second and then flash back to the scene before and then flash forward and flash back and flash forward. Just really quick. And that was kind of cool. I kind of enjoyed that. It was cool.
I think they may have done it a little bit too much because there were like 5 different scenes that they did that to.
Yeah.
But I was so confused the first time it happened because we're just like cutting to a field of cows. I'm like, what is going on here?
Is there something wrong with the projector? What's funny is when we saw this movie, there actually was something wrong with the projector.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because you know how it has like the pre-movie like commercials or whatever, and then it goes into the trailers.
Yeah.
So like the last commercial, it still like had it kind of frozen on the bottom of the screen while the trailers were playing. So
oh wow, you're like, I hope this doesn't. I hope this gets fixed before the movie starts.
I had to go tell somebody.
Wow.
And they had to fix it. So it really could have been something with the projector for this film. So glad it wasn't.
Every projector in the country like acted up at certain parts.
Yeah.
It's like flashing forward, flashing back.
And there's one transition where the Brittany Snow's character is singing Landslide.
Yeah.
Which was pretty interesting. It was like her singing, and then half the screen was like the old couple.
Yeah.
And, I was like, okay, we're watching a music video now. All of a sudden. Okay. A little like musical break.
Hey, Ty West is showing off all of his skills here.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
I'll just throw a music video in there too. Why not? Like show those like record producers. I can do this too.
Yeah. So something we haven't even talked about yet is the kills.
We haven't.
20 minutes into this review and haven't even talked about the kills.
I know.
This is a horror film, right?
I'm pretty sure like we didn't get any kills for like a good half hour in this movie, but
probably an hour.
I like that though. I mean, you have to build the characters and everything up a little bit before you just go and kill everybody.
Yeah, I liked it too.
So,
and once the killing started, then it was, it
was pretty nonstop.
Yeah, it definitely kicked it off and didn't stop.
They did show one of the kills in the trailer though. That I hate when they do that, especially when there's not that many characters in the movie.
Yeah.
That first one with the he was the one that was like making the porno.
Yeah.
I remember in the trailer she like stabs him in the neck.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh come on. There was more to it than that, but you know at that point that this guy's dead.
Right.
Like it's you can't really get stabbed in the neck and then survive. You can, I guess, but it's it's very rare
unlikely.
And it never happens in a horror movie. So
No.
So I'm not one of those people that are like, oh, the trailer ruins everything. Because a lot of times they really don't. Like, there's more to scenes than that. But I do wish that they hadn't shown like any kills in the trailer because, like I was saying, there's not that many people in this entire movie. So, it's one thing to have like Halloween kills, like you show a couple kills here and there, but there's like 50 different people that die in that movie, so it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But yeah, the kill scenes for the most part were really good. I don't like the shotgun deaths in a slasher movie.
Yeah.
I just think it kind of like it takes away from an actual cool death.
Yeah.
That you could see.
I did think that was kind of a cool death. Just because of how shocking it was, like how sudden.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely was sudden.
Yeah.
I mean, both times it was used.
Oh yeah, that's right. It was used more.
It was used. Yeah, there's only a few people in the movie, and it was used twice. So I was like, okay, well, once would have been plenty.
Right.
But yeah, so especially that first one was pretty shocking.
Yeah.
Because you don't even think Are we doing spoilers?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it's been out long enough at this point. It'll have been out even longer by the time this is out. You only really, from the trailers, you only think that it's the old lady that's the one killing people.
Yeah.
So when that first death with the shotgun happens, it's Kid Cudi, R.I.P. They're like in a swamp area. And you find out then that it's not just the old lady. That's a killer here.
Yeah.
And he just gets blown away. I didn't like the old man's death. He just has a heart attack. Is that really how they're going to kill off one of the characters in a slasher movie?
Yeah.
Like one of the antagonists in a slasher movie?
Well, I agree. Because of it being a slasher and all that, but I think it kind of went with the whole theme of the old age.
Yeah, it did.
He died from something that an old person would have died from.
Yeah,
So I think that was the artistic choice there.
Yeah, it makes sense, but it's just like it's kind of lame in a slasher movie.
Yeah. Especially once you get to the slasher piece of the film, it's like, oh, really? Everybody else dies like from guns and knives and all that, and then he just dies from a heart attack. Like, it's kind of lame.
Yeah. But Pearl's death was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Getting her head ran over.
Yeah.
So the kill scenes were really, for the most part, really cool. Lots of blood in the movie, which I honestly thought there was going to be more of.
Me too. That's what I kept hearing.
Yeah. And so with those shotgun deaths and the heart attack, like you don't really see any blood. It just kind of cuts away from the scene, especially the first one with Kid Cudi. He just gets blown away off screen. You don't see his body after that. And then with the second shotgun death, like you see her body lying on the ground and there's some blood around, but shotguns leave like holes in people's bodies. You would think that there'd be more blood than that. I thought so. Random alligator in this movie.
Yeah. That was when they first show the alligator and it's like coming toward the that was pretty suspenseful. I was like, really?
Yeah,
it was. Die right now? Like, whoa, what's happening?
When she didn't. When she didn't die, I was like, all right, somebody's gonna get eaten by an alligator at some point because you don't just throw an alligator in there. I don't even know how. We're in Texas, right? Are there even alligators in Texas?
I don't know. Maybe.
I was assumed that was more like a Florida state thing than a middle of the country type of a. But yeah, so that was pretty cool. Like it happened suddenly with Brittany Snow's character. Like she just gets pushed, and then like a second later, this like alligator's like, snapping at her head. And it was a different type of a kill for a slasher movie.
Yeah, definitely.
So I was like, okay, we're now in an alligator attack movie now. Cool.
I was kind of surprised that Mia Goth survived. I kind of thought everybody was going to die.
Yeah.
But but once you find out her connection to, like, you know, that she's a runaway, and the whole preacher that's been, you know, they've been showing is her father.
Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, she has a connection, you know, she's, you know, it, I guess just in case they want to do a sequel or something, then there's her to kind of move on with. So
when I heard that, so I had heard that there was going to be a prequel to this movie before even watching it. And when I was like watching it, the only thing I could think of is, we're going to have a prequel to this character? Like, that doesn't even make sense. Like, it took me a while to figure out that Mia Goth was also Pearl.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
Movie.
I didn't know that until like the next day when I was looking at the cast, because I was like, Mia Goth, people are talking about her like I should know who that is. And so I looked her up and saw that she played both characters. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah. I figured it out because there was just something in her face, something in like her voice. I figured it out, thankfully, before that sex scene happened. I was like, okay, this kind of takes away some of that, because I know that this is like a 20-something-year-old in makeup.
Yeah.
I was like, this is not actually like two old people just like having sex right now. So.
Yeah, even the old man is, you know, it was all makeup effects.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which you could tell. It was, I'm like, no old people actually look like that. Like, they look ridiculously old.
You look like you're on the brink of death right now. Like,
yeah, they look like corpses. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
That was a little much. But, they were mostly in like darkness though. There wasn't like a good like lighted scene to really see it, but you could tell that it was a good amount of makeup.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Especially with Pearl, like that's Mia. Okay.
Yeah, crazy.
It was, I found it pretty funny and also realistic. That second shotgun blast.
Yeah.
When it's Pearl with the shotgun and she goes flying backwards.
Yeah,
I was like,
that was funny.
That's funny, but also like the recoil on those things, if you're not strong enough to like deal with that, like you're not going to get flown backwards like 15 feet. But that was an exaggeration. That was a Hollywood exaggeration.
Oh, yeah.
But at the same time, like, there would have been something like, So I thought that's how that they were going to leave her to like die. Because I was like, she's been there, like sitting there for a while, like not moving.
Yeah.
And then Mia runs her head over. I'm like, okay, good.
Right. There was something
you got to finish the job here.
Yeah. Yeah, I was pretty surprised with what's her name's death, Jenna Ortega, when she just running away. Gets blasted as she exits the house.
Yeah.
From a distance, you kind of just see her fly away.
That
was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
That was the shotgun death that I kind of liked.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not the Kid Cudi one?
No.
That one, I like that one just because I wasn't expecting the old man to also be a part of it.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, he kind of led up to that with, what he gave a little speech before he just blew him away.
Yeah.
So after a while, like, kind of made it obvious he was about to kill him, but I just wasn't expecting him to also be a killer in this movie.
Yeah.
I was a little, so at the beginning of the movie, I loved the panning out too. Of like it, the shot, you see it on the farmhouse, and then you hear sirens. Like it's actually like the black bars are on the top and bottom of the screens, and then instead of like wide angle, and then as you hear the cop cars, it widens out more.
Yeah.
I was like, that's pretty cool. You get more of the shot. You see like cop cars are already there and everything. That part was pretty cool. But the thing that I'm confused about, so the cops there have seen a couple of dead bodies, not even having to go inside the house because should be like 3 dead bodies outside alone.
Yeah.
One of them goes down to the basement and like freaks out. He's like, "Oh, you should see this." And besides that one guy that was hanging up there, like there was nothing in that basement.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, well, that's better. After watching it, I'm like, that's a bit of an exaggeration.
Yeah, that's nothing.
Yeah, you've already seen like 4 deaths by the time you even get down there. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I don't know. I was, wondering when this like huge massacre was going to happen.
In the basement was going to,
but never happened really. It was just a decaying body, like kind of hanging there.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
but I don't know. It was just a way to like kind of grow some anticipation that didn't really pay off.
That something was going to happen. Yeah, at least have something happen in the basement. Like, I mean, I guess, having a dead body is not a very usual thing to have in your basement, but
but yeah, you've already seen so much.
Exactly. You've already seen 4 or 5 bodies by the time you even get down there. It's like, okay, at least like, if that was the first person that they saw in this house, like, okay, that'd be shocking.
Yeah.
But it's not. Like, you've seen an old woman with her head smashed in. Like, I don't... Whatever you see in that basement is not going to be anything comparison.
So my favorite line of the movie is the very last line of the movie. One of the deputies goes to the sheriff and is like, "Oh, what do you think happened here?" And he's like,
"Oh, yeah.
Looks like a effed up horror film."
Yeah.
That we just watched. So a little meta something, thrown in there.
That scene, I remember that was also in the trailer.
It was.
Yeah. And I was like, did they really just show the last scene of this movie in the trailer?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, that was a good though. That was a good line.
Yeah.
Was there any connection between I forgot what her Pearl and I forgot what her other name was. Mia's was it just like she wanted to play both parts, or was there more of like a bigger meaning behind having her in particular play both a young version and an old character?
Maybe the only thing I can
say
think
24. So
yeah, there's got to be something. Right? Yeah, the only thing I can think of is Mia's character, the young character, was like, she was doing drugs. She was like, what does she call herself? Like, you're a superstar. You're a sex symbol.
Oh yeah,
is what she's said to herself
as she's snorting cocaine. Yeah.
And so, and then you have the old lady who, she's at the end of her life, and I don't know if old ladies have these needs, but she was wanting still to have this youth.
Yeah, and I mean, it's probably been years.
Yeah.
For her.
I mean,
so
I don't know. I like to think that old people stop doing that when they're old, but what do I know? I'm not old.
You're like on fast forward. It sounded like just then.
Oh, wait. I'm just talking fast.
Like sound like you just hit like a speed up button or something on yourself. You're fine now. But
I don't know what happens when you're old, and I like to think that old people don't do these things anymore when they're old. But maybe she had this wild and crazy life, as a younger person, and really like wanting that back. So maybe she was like the younger version when she was younger. So
we'll find out in that prequel.
Yeah.
What how her character was back in the day.
Right. And so that's something that I don't think I've ever seen, is you watch a film and then you get a teaser trailer of the next film.
That was weird.
Post credits. Yeah.
It's like I knew that they were working on it, but wow, I didn't know that they had like filmed it completely because it said coming soon. Like, really?
It looks very different.
It does.
From X. They're definitely still trying to go with the period, which is going to be in the early 1900s or 1910s. So
this was like 1979, so it's got to be like, she's about the age her character was in X, or in this movie. So it's like it's got to be 50, 60 years ago, to make it seem like that. So yeah,
and that's what they're doing. So should be interesting. Honestly, the teaser trailer didn't get me too excited about it.
Really?
Yeah, I wasn't. I don't know. The 1918, I think, is what it said. That doesn't excite me. Like, especially if you're going to try to make it look like a movie that was filmed in 1918. I don't know.
I don't think they're going to go that far with it.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Because the whole thing would have to be in black and white.
Yeah.
And it's not. So you can tell from the trailer it's going to be in color.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think they did that with this movie because of like the whole porno aspect. The whole like, we got to make it feel legit, like it, took place in 1979. They don't have to do that with the prequel. They can just, okay, this takes place in 1918 or what? It's something. It was in the teens, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
That this movie is going to take place. So I don't know. I am looking forward to it just because it still feels like a horror movie. It's gonna it still has that slasher feel to it. So you can't really blame the old age on her killing people because apparently she's been doing this for 60 years. And like her whole like jealousy thing.
Yeah.
Which was a pretty big thing in this movie. She can't really have that in the prequel.
Right.
So I'm like wondering
what the motivation's going to be.
The motivations and how she didn't get caught for 60 years. Like I know it's the early turn of the century type of a movie, and the police weren't as good as they are now back then. There were a ton of serial killers over the course of that 1918 to like I guess 1979 that were just never caught because like technology is not the same. But she didn't mess up once in 60 years of killing people. Like it's gonna be interesting to see where they're going with the story.
Yeah.
It based on how it ended, like even having a prequel to that character would have been like maybe not an entire movie, but like some sort of a flashback or something to how Mia's character in X came to be in this like porno industry. Because like her dad, like that seemed like a very strict household.
Yeah.
And like it just, that whole thing kind of felt out of place to me, just because the recording of like the sermon felt much older than 1979.
Yeah.
And so it may have been a couple years before that, but even still, it felt way older than what it was. So yeah, that kind of felt out of place. It was just sort of tacked on there at the end because it's A24 and we need to do something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something A24-ish. So
right.
Let's have this like 1950s sermon, but actually not a 50s sermon because she's not that old of a character. But
A scene that I liked, that first kill scene, which was, some of it was shown in the trailer, but I liked the lighting on it and how the headlights were on and she was killing him and blood was splattering on the headlights. So then it like turned the scene red.
yeah,
I thought that was really cool. I was like, what's going on? Why is everything turning red? I was like, oh gosh, here we go. A24. And then I realized, oh, okay, I get it now. Like, okay, that's pretty cool. There was
still
a reason.
A24, but
there was at least a reason for it,
Yeah, there was.
It wasn't some crazy, deeper meaning,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there is, but there was also a practical reason. So I enjoyed that. All right.
Yeah.
Let's give it a grade. Actually,
all right.
Do you have any other like negative things? I mean, for me, it was I felt like the kills could have been better. I felt like there could have been more gore, especially how people were talking about it. People were saying how gory it was and all that, and I'm like, this was pretty tame, honestly.
Yeah, it really was
for a slasher. So
I don't even know what like the goriest death was, because it's just like, even when you'd have a gruesome death, like a gruesome kill scene, it would cut away like pretty quickly after.
Yeah,
like the guy, I swear, even from like the trailers, he sounded like Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, he did.
It's like, really, dude?
It's exactly. Okay. Yeah, he had that accent and he had that look too about him.
Yeah, even his death scene, kind of saw it coming before it happened, because you don't stick your face in like a little hole in a horror movie and nothing bad ever happens.
Yeah.
But even his kill scene, like, it just cut out like as soon as it happened. Like, okay, if you blinked, you would have missed it. Like, let's hang on this for a second here. Let's
Right.
And then Kid Cudi's, shotgun blasts, like, it happened, it started on screen, but then he ended off screen. Like, and you didn't see any blood in that one. And it's just like most of the kill scenes were like, they were gruesome, but it didn't really show anything.
Yeah, the only one that really had a good amount of on screen was the first one.
Yeah.
The first kill with the like cameraman.
Yeah, with the knife in the neck, because she just kept going.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And her head getting smashed was pretty gruesome.
That's true.
At the end.
At the very end. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the first and last death scenes where. Yeah. But other than that,
the most gore we saw was from the cow at the beginning.
Yeah. That random cow getting like
hit. What? I think he got hit.
Yeah, that was an A24 thing too, because there's got to be more of a meaning, because it cut to that scene.
Yeah.
That was the first cut scene we got to, was it cut to the cows in the in the fields, and then all of a sudden they're driving and one of the cows is splattered all across the ground. It's like, why though?
Is that like a anti-meat, like or like a PETA thing, or
it's a PETA thing while killing a cow.
Well, you have to see the gruesomeness, so then you realize,
true,
like,
to really appreciate.
No, I don't want to eat that. Like, poor cow.
Well, I don't want to eat that. No, I like it to be cooked, please.
Yeah.
There had to be something with that. Yeah. And any car, especially 1979, any car that did that kind of damage, where was it?
Yeah.
Like that thing's just not driving off.
It had to be a semi or something.
Yeah, it had to have been something like that, because there was no car in sight. And that thing was just like smashed completely. It's like, okay, no car back then could have done that and just drove off.
Yeah.
Unless it was a semi, which I guess could have done that.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know, this semi driver doesn't even care anymore. He's like, okay, I'm just running animals over now.
Oh, man. All right. Let's give it a grade.
All right.
What do you got?
So I'm going to go 87.
Ooh, I was going 86.
Oh, nice.
So right on, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a really good movie. I don't know how many times I would rewatch this just because, like I was saying before, it's not necessarily a fun movie to watch.
Yeah, not super
it's
rewatchable.
It's not a rewatchable type of a movie, but it was still a good movie.
Yeah. Overall, like, just a really well done movie when it comes to just how it looked, the acting, the story, all that, you know. For a slasher, you don't get that. So gotta appreciate, you know, this for all that stuff. So
yeah,
could have won an Oscar.
Hey, film editing,
maybe,
you know, film editing.
Yeah,
because those are some pretty cool shots they got.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, they keep adding categories to the Oscars, so I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
At some point. Yeah. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'd probably watch it like one or two more times. Yeah. But it would probably take another few years to rewatch it again after that.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
Well, that is our review on the 2022 film X. And yeah, I guess that's it. Hey, go check us out on Facebook. I haven't said this in a while.
Yeah,
go check us out on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and we have a Patreon, so go look at that.
Yeah.
And send us a message. You know, if you want to collaborate with us and you're a podcaster, director, actor, whatever you do, send us a message. We're always open to doing stuff like that. So
it's fun.
So,
yeah,
definitely fun. All right. Well, that's it. This has been Scare Talk.
Sleep tight.
Don't let Pearl bite.